Donna Taggert. I'm a dietitian for Department of Aging and Human Services. Today we're going to talk about sleep. The National Sleep Foundation defines adequate sleep as 7 to 9 hours for anyone from 26 years of age to 64 and 7 to 8 for anyone over 65. Reports indicate that more than 37% of U.S. adults get less than 6 hours of sleep. So why is sleep important? Well, there's a clear link that exists between insufficient sleep, which is defined as less than 6 hours, and cardiovascular disease and the development of inflammation. We all know inflammation is that buzzword now. It's connected to a lot of chronic diseases. The actual risk factor is 200% increase if you get less than 6 hours of sleep. Insufficient sleep is associated with increased brain disease, Alzheimer's, increased cancer risk, increased body weight and fat mass, increased risk of errors at work, car accidents. It affects our bone mass. So what does this mean? Decreased productivity, decreased immunity, decreased lifespan. Sleep impacts our diet, and diet impacts our sleep. The NHANES, which, I had to write this down, National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, has data on 26,000 people that adults with short sleep are more likely to have inadequate levels of intake of calcium, magnesium, vitamins A, C, E, and D. That's significant, and that's, I think, why that lack of sleep is so linked to other chronic diseases. So less than 5 hours of sleep increased 50% risk of obesity. Why? Because our cravings increase, our ghrelin hunger hormone increases, the leptin that decreases our hunger decreases, so it sets us up for almost not being able to control it no matter what. So interestingly, the World Health Association or organization considers sleep disturbances a probable carcinogen. Crazy, isn't it? You think of tobacco smoking, duh, yeah, but sleep deprivation, probable carcinogen. So, what are we going to do about it? First, I'm going to tell you how sleep works. We have 4 cycles of sleep, first, second, and then the third is where all that nice, deep, restorative, tissue rebuilding, healing stuff comes, and then the 4th cycle, and then it goes back, first, second, third, fourth. It takes 90 minutes to get through those 4, then it recycles 6 to 8 times a night, depending on how long you're sleeping. If at any time you interrupt those, guess what? It goes back to cycle 1. So if you're almost into the deep restorative and it gets interrupted for some reason, boop, you're back to 1. And that's how it can affect the quality of the sleep. So here's some things to do. I'll talk about some sleep habits, and then I'll get into the nutrition. First and foremost, they say go to bed, same time, get up, same time, every day. Weekends shouldn't change. And I know right now I'm telling you this during the change to daylight savings time, screws everybody up. Hopefully by the time you see this aired next month, you'll be much better. The second thing is improving our sleep hygiene. Temperature of the room should be 62 to 68 degrees. Light, that's a big one. If you lay down in your bed, you hold your hands, and you can see those hands right there, too much light. So look around. Often there's a little light on a clock radio. I have a CD player that I listen to some music. When it shuts off, the little light's still there. You just don't realize how much light is in your room and you not having a light on. So they recommend taping over those little things so you don't see light. Just try to make it as dark as you can in your room. This next one, sound. Devices out there, apps you can listen to, white noise, it will kind of mask those other sounds, keeps your brain unengaged. If you're listening to regular music or going to sleep with the TV on, your brain is engaging, listening, processing it, and that keeps you from getting into sleep. So white noise is just that kind of nondescript type thing. I have Alexa now. I just say, Alexa, play me white noise for sleep, and it comes on. Sometimes it just sounds like, I don't even know what it sounds like, but it's just very soothing. Here's the big one people have problems with, devices. Our devices, that's TVs, Kindles, laptops, iPads, anything that's emitting that blue light. You need to shut them off within an hour, half hour at the least, before you go to bed. And some people are like, oh, no, I can't shut the TV off. I can't not read my Kindle. Well, pick up a regular book. It doesn't emit blue light, and do that way. If you have, like, say, something you have to do for work, you have to get on that laptop, there are blue light filters, but they say do not use that as an excuse to use all those devices up to when you go to sleep, because it's not really totally preventing you, because that blue light's keeping you from getting into that sleep cycle. 78% of people say fresh smelling sheets. There's been some studies about lavender, spritzing your sheets with lavender helps. 93% comfortable mattresses, which makes sense. You spend a third of your life in the bed, so you want to make sure it's comfortable. And another thing is addressing stress. If you're thinking and stressed about something when you go to bed, your brain's going to go hash, hash, hash all through the night. So evening yoga, a nice walk, a bath, warm bath will help lower that stress. Do not do intense exercise, at least an hour to 2 hours before you go to bed, because that will keep you all up and waking. So now let's kind of talk about nutrition. One is avoid large meals right before you go to bed. I'm going to talk a little bit about snacking later on, because that might actually be helpful. So, but not a big, huge meal that you would eat and then go to bed. That's not going to be good. Caffeine. They recommend 400 milligrams of caffeine. That's about 4 8-ounce glasses or cups of coffee. Decrease the caffeine, because caffeine definitely can affect our sleep. Now here's the thing. Caffeine has a half-life, so it's about 5 hours. So they say about 8 to 10 hours before you're going to go to bed, you need to cut off the caffeine. So if you go to bed at 10, that means 2 p.m. in the afternoon, no more caffeinated stuff because of that half-life. And some people will say to me, oh, I fall asleep. I drink a cup of coffee and I'm asleep like that. It still has been shown that even though you fall asleep, it affects the quality of your sleep. So definitely address caffeine if that's an issue. Alcohol. Recommended is 1 drink for women, 2 for men a day. But they have found that alcohol can affect your sleep quality. So they say last call 2 hours before you go to bed. Smoking. Smoking depletes our vitamin C, which vitamin C has a big link with sleep. So that's a given too. Try not to drink a lot of foods before you go to bed. If you do, you're getting up in the middle of the night, what are you doing? You're interrupting that sleep cycle. You're starting back over at sleep cycle 1. Get up again, back to sleep cycle 1. So you want to be careful with that. And there are some specific meals and foods for better sleep. One is tart cherry juice. They found a study where they drank, I think it was a cup of tart cherry juice in the morning and then a cup at night. That's a lot of cherry juice. But 84 minutes extended sleep because of that. So if you really struggle, it might be worth it. Other studies have done just a cup of tart cherry juice in the evening. Maybe start with that, because tart cherry juice is not cheap, and that's a lot of juice you're going to be drinking. So again, you have to evaluate that. But if you're desperate, it might be something to try. A small evening snack. Some people are like, I do not eat anything after 6 p.m. Well, here's the thing. If you aren't eating and you don't have a small snack, maybe about an hour to 2 before you go to bed, your blood sugars start to drop, cortisol starts to rise, and that can affect your sleep. It can also affect your weight. So, sometimes a small snack is good, especially if it's made up of calcium, potassium, what else? Magnesium. These components help with melatonin, which is obviously a sleep natural thing that our body makes to put us into that sleep. A glass of milk, bing, covers all those things: calcium, magnesium, potassium. Or you could do here some other examples: banana and nut butter, cottage cheese and fruit, cheese cubes with whole wheat crackers, almonds with dried tart cherries. All those things can perhaps help you with your sleep, also keep you from waking in the middle of the night being hungry and then foraging through the refrigerator for who knows what. So sleep is affected by these little micronutrients, but macronutrients as well. Low protein improves our sleep, impairs our sleep quality, and too much protein can affect it too. So that balance. Generally for us seniors, about 25 to 30 grams per meal is sufficient as far as protein. Refined carbohydrates, well, when are they ever good for us? Cakes, cookies, pies, that kind of stuff can affect our sleep. But also skipping breakfast and irregular meals, they've shown, can really affect our sleep and cause poor sleep quality. So just by eating good breakfast this morning, tonight you might sleep better. So in summary, sleep is obviously very important to our health. If we're not getting the recommended amount, then you need to assess what maybe I can change. For me, I started putting little tape things over all those little lighted things in my room. I switched to sounds where I wouldn't be, getting my brain all crazy. And, check out your nutrition. Are you eating breakfast? Are you eating regular meals? Are you getting enough of those nutrients, calcium, magnesium? Are you getting enough protein? All those things, vitamin C, all important for good sleep. So, I leave you with an old Irish proverb. A good laugh and a long sleep are the two best cures for anything. So hopefully you get some good sleep, and I will see you next month. Bye.